Hi, everybody, and welcome to Habitat Now. I'm your host, Aaron Shea. I want to thank you all for coming to this Habatat-Zoom. Our guest today is Jane Buckman, the director of the Imagine Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. She is in the museum right now. I'm going to have an interactive conversation with us about the activities of the museum, and I want people to think of any questions at any time, ask at any time. So we're going to start off with a little presentation. Just a visual experience of the outside of the building, and I'll ask Jane to go ahead and discuss whatever she wants to talk about. This is a fun time. So before I start, Jane, is there anything you want to say to the group?
It is my delight and my pleasure to be able to see and speak to all of you. I think for many of you it was February was the last time, so to see you all again, honestly, my delight and my pleasure. So thanks for tuning in.
Great, yeah, thank you. So I'm going to take over everybody's screen real quick, and I'm going to start our little visual experience here. You'll see a picture of my boy once again before I start the PowerPoint.
I got a little Mo.
Yeah, there's a little Mo hanging out, having a good time. All right, now I'm going to kick back into the Zoom presentation. There we go. Good. Okay, so let's see if I can get to the screen. 1 second, because it's looking kind of funny. And where is this one for? Yes, this is. So, those of you who haven't been to the Imagine Museum, it's located in St. Petersburg, Florida. We're going to have a little bit of feedback on this call. Obviously, Jane's space that she's in has a little bit of echo, but when she talks, it'll be very, very clear. So, Jane, do you want to tell us about the building and about the location?
Well, I think that as many of you know, we opened in 2018, and for all of those that have paid attention to our story, we are a constant work in progress. And as we, as many of you know also, we started with this fantastic 500 pieces, 55 years, 55 American artists. And what one doesn't know that we're just trying to put our arms around now is that our collection is about 1,500. And we have not only do we have 600 pieces of American studio art, but we also have almost 500 pieces from the Czech Republic and that area, and the collection continues to expand. So what you're seeing here are just some of the gallery shots. We have been, through COVID, we've had the opportunity to really work on our galleries, work on the presentation, move some work out, bring some new work in. I think it gets more stunning every time that we go through it. Given where we're at right now, you can see our beautiful donation from the Vendas, but also right now during COVID, what we're really thinking about is expansion. We know we need more storage because we can't show all of this in our building, and then trying to think of what expansion means. So we're looking at a fast track. We're looking at as I told Trish, I called it a judicious growth plan, or more of an organic type of plan for growth. So we're making the decisions now, but we're actually putting plans together. I mean, we're not doing it like how we opened. I just have to say that we opened so quickly. Trish got the building, Corey helped her get the collection, and then we opened. And there wasn't a lot of infrastructure at the time we opened, and now that's what we're working on and our vision. You have to see this video. This would be Trish. If you haven't met our benefactors or studying, this is her video.
Okay, here we go. This is her discussing one of the pieces in the collection she enjoys.
He's been helping us with our socials. Yeah.
It's Trish Duggan from Imagine Museum, and I just wanted to point out one of my very favorite pieces, this Chandelier by Martin Blank. He's an absolutely astounding artist, very intellectual, very introspective, and wildly creative. Doesn't this kind of remind you of water falling? Can you imagine creating something like this? I love this piece.
So here is another video about, I believe this is the response from the locals who got locked out of the museum when it was closed, and now we're back in business, right, Jane?
Yes, yes. There are members that.
Oh my goodness. Well, number one, it's my favorite museum in St. Pete.
I just think it's such a gift to our community with all the beautiful art that can inspire.
This is my place in peace. This place gives me joy.
I've missed it terribly.
All the beautiful things that are within these walls.
I can come in here and take a breath and just decompress, relax, and see this incredible beauty.
When the museum was closed, that was a big hole to be filled in not only my schedule, but in my soul as well. So I was thrilled to be able to come back to the museum.
Great. It's a great response.
You know, that for all of you that, you know, have the glass, you know what it means, and it's so rewarding for me to hear the members and our guests that how dependent they've become on this collection, and I know you all understand what that feeling is. So even we were talking a little bit about how many people are coming into the museum, and our intention is to stay open because we feel people need to have the uplift. They need to have the collection to get them through this time. So now you'll get something from Batil when he was here in February.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that with the concept of how intimate the experience is. I go to so many museums and the work is there, but it's behind vitrines or behind plexiglass. This museum is such a great intimate experience to really get close to the artwork. Such an amazing thing if you have not been there to go and check out. And here is Bertil talking about Imagine.
No, it's really a gift, you know, to the art world, and especially to the glass world. What Trish is doing with this museum, I mean, the collection is world class, beautiful displayed. The feeling of adventure and discovering that was connected with the studio glass movement has come to some kind of a ripeness. You know, it has become, I think we're ready to move forward now. All the experimentation, all the fun of discovering this material is now, I think, going into a new era of being more mature, actually wanting more to be a part of the art world, not so much like a craft thing. And I think a place like Imagine Museum will be vital to show that. I'm Bertil Wallin, and I'm at Imagine Museum.
That's beautiful.
That's great. What a legend that guy is.
You gotta love that guy.
Living legend. You can skip forward now. So will you tell us a little bit about the relationship between Trish and Bertil?
So, well, Trish met actually Bertil when he was at Habitat a couple of years ago, right? During your international. And they found that they had many things in common, and then Corey facilitated and helped Trish get over to Sweden to work with Batil, and so they put together quite a body of work, a collaborative effort and body of work. And if you have more on that, you can roll that forward. I think people who were here in February saw some of the collaboration, but there still are more in the works, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Right, and we have a sneak peek coming up too for those attending this meeting. So I'll play another video that we have here.
there's going to be one large boat farm, which will be situated in a cabinet. And I want the boat to be totally clear. We're going to cut it to become really clear glass at the bow.
Okay. And any other color?
Slightly blue color, slightly blue. We just decided today 2 grams of cobalt oxide.
Okay, super. I love that idea.
I have an alphabet of symbols that I use over and over. The Y, I love the Y because to me it's a place to choose direction. And here we have
We have a map.
a map, which is going to be directing this ship, or actually when it's leaving this planet, this is what they will see.
And he has so many inclusions that also communicate that. The ladder, the stairs, the floating people.
Great. So that was just one collaboration she's done with many. And this will kind of just play on with examples of the works that they did together, and then it will continue on into other works that the museum has in their collection. So Jane, let's talk about some of the topics we mentioned early on your list of things. I don't have the list in front of me, probably should, but one of them was the overall reception to the museum due to the fact it's a rarity being solely dedicated to contemporary glass.
So I saw that Paul Stankard was on this call. So when I came into the building today, I know you still haven't seen it, but we have 60 of your globes, of your paperweights that are displayed in these little beehives. I think you might remember photos from when you had that show here. And everyone, I mean, again, as people were peering in this morning, it was like, how did he do that? How is that done? And then I take them over and I explain the process and talk about the roof people. And then once that they discover the roof people, they're probably there for another 30 minutes just trying to find all of them. So it's such an engaging and interactive display. To see you here this morning was a real treat, just because I had this very conversation this morning. So what we found, and Tim can attest to this, when we first opened, we went in with the assumption, well, you know, Chihuly, we have the Chihuly museums in town, people know about glass. Well, in fact, they knew and know very little about it. So for many, the first time that people come into the museum, they're seeing glass for the first time. If you all can remember the first time that you experienced glass and had that big wow with it, that's what I get to experience every day. They don't know about the move. They don't know about Harvey. They don't know about the movement. And if I were to tell you how many times and how many ways that Chihuly's name can be mispronounced, you would find that rather comical. You know, I find myself correcting, and then sometimes I don't even correct after a while. They're so adamant and thrilled about what it is that they're seeing. So I know so many of you appreciate what glass is, and a true delight for me within this museum, and such a reason of why it should be, is really just how how people come to fall in love with it, how they come and fall in love with the beauty of it. Even the members that were on that video, one person had collected glass, but it was mostly locals. So she had no idea of the expanse and the artists and what was involved and what was engaged, that it really has become a real source of uplift. And that's a beautiful thing, you know, to be able to bring that to the world. That's how I look at it. You know, even though it's in this little corner of the Gulf Coast, I think that it has large impact. So we look forward as we into the future, as more and more people become acquainted with this, that we feel very confident about the future and attendance and what we're planning to do, because even if you were to go, if anybody's counting on social for your own assurance you're doing a good job, we get 5 stars all the time. It's always, it's very pleasing, you know, to see that, but everybody has a problem about something. But I see, Aaron, there's a question seeing more of the collection, so I know you have a lot of those.
Yeah, it will kick in. Just keep talking. It will go into more images when we get past all of Ortiel's.
Okay.
I got stuck on one. Let me see if it kicks over. Just out of nowhere, which work seems to cause the most buzz in the museum? In general?
Well, I'll start with Tim because he's on this, but they love the eye, they love the blinking eye. They are, you know, it takes them a minute or two to see it, and then once they see it, some, you know, might be freaked out about it. But Tim, you've told me some stories, and I now know 2. So depending on the audience, I tell either one. Both of them are close to the truth, I know. And so then all, you know, so people are fascinated by that. We have the Anthony James piece, so you can imagine all of the ones that are electronic or are new, that's what an audience generally are going to be mesmerized by. But then there's people that will come in and see Bertiel's exhibit, and you know, they can connect so much with him that I could be talking to them and they start to cry. They're so moved. I mean, again, that's thrilling for me that someone is really that taken by the works. And then you know, there's Brett Young's pieces, and people love to be astounded by his work and what is done. But then, you know, then once you start looking at it all, you just can fall in love with everything about what all the artists bring to their pieces. And we're just so fortunate to have such a diverse collection. I really think that between Corey and Trish, that because she does have her sensibility, and Corey will agree with that, but that Corey does lead her down a very a path of where I think that we will in the end have the most astounding and preeminent collection of glass in the world, and that's where that little 500 piece of American studio glass, now the aspiration, has grown considerably. So we'll talk about when Trish and Bertiel collaborated. They also made this limited series of boats, and so that we can sell them in our gift shop and that they could be sold other places. They're really fabulous. The stands are all there. You know, it's a very lovely stand that they sit in, and all of the boats are different. All of the inclusions in the boats are different. But it really is just a beautiful collaboration and a beautiful boat. And the thing is, we sell them in through our gift shop at $4,000. and people buy them and they don't really even know who the deal is, but they're so taken by the glass and the inclusions and what it means to them, because you know his inclusions really, they can speak to you. So it is fascinating. You know, I'm an observer many times just to see how people react, and again, I think that what a lovely position I have to observe what our guests get to do, but then also get to know people like you all who collect and the artists who make. So lucky me. Even in COVID, I can be lucky.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, those boats are available for purchase, and like Jane said, they're $4,000. But a great collaboration of the many collaborations that Trish has done with artists around the world. So these pictures that we're going to be showing now are just different examples of work in the museum's collection. I could not even get close to covering all the work in the collection, and Jane his job is to do that every day. So I give her kudos for that. But you'll see some beautiful pieces. Many of the artists are here. We got Paul, we got Peter, we got Tim, and all are part of the collection, and many more I'm probably missing. But I wanted to share these. My question also, Jane, is what is the overall mission of the museum, so we can get an idea behind the thoughts process of the Imagine Museum?
So in the beginning, and really that was less than 3 years ago. So this has all kind of grown up and manifested itself over the last 3 years. And for anyone that knew my association with Habitat from Longboat Key, we've come a long way in the last 5 years, I would say, just for how much glass is brought to this coast. So again, we feel very lucky. But in the beginning, it was always to elevate the glass art and to celebrate the artists. If I were to quote Trish, which many of you have met her, and so she is quite a force. But her thing was to make the artists well-known, rich and famous, so that, and she would do that by having this museum and collecting their works. So her intention was pretty straightforward. And you know what, it is happening. So, we're not done with the collecting. We have such beautiful pieces. We have such great plans. I love it when I see everyone again and we're together in person, because I listen to your suggestions. And given that you know so much about the material and about the artists, it's a great lesson for me always. I do know more than what I did just a couple of years ago, but it's to my benefit and my pleasure.
Great. In the museum, there's a great collection of history too. There'll be a slide coming up with a bunch of works from the past, like Lebinsky's from the 60s and Marvin Lepofsky's and older works. What's the overall perception people walk in the museum? Are they impressed by the history, or are they just blown away by the visuals?
Well, the historical pieces are mostly smaller pieces, so that you really have to bring them to it, and you have to discuss why the pieces are important and why we have them in the museum. And then once that they see and understand that this is where it started in the 60s and early 70s, that and where it is today is really quite astounding for an art movement. So we still are, this is, as the director of the museum, I don't think that we yet have it right, how we historically display it, but I'm working on it. I have a plan, it's just the execution of that plan that's, I'm
in
working
process. Gotcha.
I'm working on it.
Gotcha. I'd like to open up. I'd like to open it up to the floor. If anybody has any questions for Jane about the museum, I have a few more, but I don't want to be selfish here. I got one from Howard Cohen in the chat saying, has the museum published any books or catalog? If so, are there intentions of doing paper or digital in the future?
So Howard, so good to see you at least virtually. So yes, that as a matter of fact, that's all of the planning that we are engaged now is the digital capture of our whole collection with the intention to be able to create catalogs. So we have hired some people during this time that are helping us just to create to digitalize our collections. So I'm hopeful within the next 6 to 9 months that this project will be close to completion. So we will have a catalog. Or various catalogs, because we'll do it digitally, obviously, and some that we feel that are stronger, we'll get them printed and sell in our gift shop. But yes, it's very appropriate during COVID to make sure that your digital house is in order. Right, Erin?
Absolutely. The more content, the better, because people can enjoy the exhibitions from anywhere and then come in to see them in real life, which is the best part. Another question is there a hot shop for visitors to learn about the glassblowing process that you guys associate with?
Yeah, there are two within a mile of us. So we have the Duncan McClellan, his hot shop, and then we also, the Chihuly collection has a hot shop across the street. I'm still hesitating to think we need one, although there's many models out there to have a hot shop. Because there's two that are very close, so they rely on that business, and to have three and all in the same vicinity, it's I think it might be too much. We have to find another way to engage people and to teach them about the processes.
Right, we're in the same boat as Habitat. We don't have a glass facility here, but we have accessibility around us. So down in Detroit and Dearborn and whatnot. So we have partners, and the partners work really well because we don't maintain it full time. Just work together where we need to.
Yeah.
I got a question about Berta Valine's boat. How was it shipped? I can probably take that one. So Berta Valine's boat shipped in multiple parts. There was the big wooden stand for it was shipped in a giant crate. The boat itself was shipped in another crate, and the parts that are on the boat are attached separately. And so they're assembled on site. And then mirrors are actually put on both sides to add a reflection so you can see the boat reflect back and forth into a giant circle. It's quite an amazing thing. And seeing these boats, it's life-changing. So it's the pinnacle of Berto's career, creating these boats and working with Trish on these elaborate vessels. Definitely worth seeing, but they were definitely a big, giant shipment per piece, and a masterpiece nonetheless. Any other questions from the room? I'd like to open it up.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Ferd.
Hi.
Hey, Fern.
Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Hi, honey. Hi. Nice to see you.
It is always good to see you.
So I just wanted to ask, I know when the Imagine Museum started, the idea was showing American artists, and now it has expanded beyond that, but I was wondering if there was any projections about the museum growing to accommodate artists internationally.
Yes, that is the dialogue that we are having now, and just really doing all of the research and the calculations of how large of a museum that you would need in order to display 1,500 pieces, as well as have all of the other spaces that you need for operation. So earlier I had said we have three options on the table that we are looking into now: a fast track, judicious expansion or an organic expansion. And, you know, it's such a difficult time financially, really, to know where to go and what to do. And so that's why we're really we're really paying attention to the data before we make any decision. You know, if thinking about a museum, 10 years from now, our board will be completely different. What we're doing will look different. And, you know, should we just build a building now, which would take up to 4 years? Should we really think through what kind of building we want and its occupation maybe here on Central Avenue? Or should we grow our attendance now, and then when we feel where we're at with attendance, then think more about engaging the community and do a build where there's community support as well. So a number of ways to look at it. Otherwise, I'm changing that workout a lot so people can see it.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite work, Jane, that you get inspiration from when you're at work?
You know what is the best for me is that I can walk through the galleries every day and I can have a favorite every day. And because it's because you all from Habitat have given me this great opportunity to know and have come to be friends with the various artists. For me, I just get to be amongst friends. So any day I could, you know, we've got a beautiful piece of Peter's in the gallery that we even showed, you know, a couple of years ago at Longboat Tea, which was always a favorite of mine. So when I see it every day, you know, it's my hat's off to Peter, and I'm thinking about him, or you know, so I don't really, I get asked that a lot. I don't have one, because how could I? I mean, really, how could I? With the collection that we had, I couldn't.
I bounce that question just like that every time I get it too.
Yes, yeah.
We got another question from Howard, and it's a kind of a putting you on the spot question of how many pieces are in the entire collection, if you have a vague idea.
Oh my God, of course I do.
Good.
It's 1,500 pieces. It's 1,500 pieces. It's really like 1,498 right now. And some pieces are bought in a series, so it's over 1,500. It's just if work came in a series, I don't count it just counts as that series. Yeah, so we show about 400. We have about another 400 in storage, and we have over 700 pieces that are elsewhere in the United States and around the world. So whether it's with commissions or you know, work that's been acquired, and because of COVID and everything else, shipping has just become too much to try to keep moving, to try to move the glass.
Gotcha.
Aren't those Karen Lamonts gorgeous?
They are beautiful. Anybody seen the Karen Lamont display at Imagine? It is breathtaking.
Stunning.
Jane.
Yes.
Hi from my
Hello.
Are there any artists who you don't have in your collection who you are anxious to get?
So yes, there is probably a list of I don't know, 200 to 300 throughout the world of people that we are considering. Corey has helped us with that, as well as other people. So we've created there is a list, and we different artists from different countries. So it's a long list to get through. So but yes, we do have one, and we're going to be relying on that as we continue to expand. I can't pull out any one name right now because, you know, really the list, I'm not familiar with some of them that are on the list. So I really have to kind of do the research myself to know what they do and how they do.
Yes. It's a good
But
list.
you have a beautiful collection. I still remember your collection so well. And the beautiful drawings, the Levinsky drawings in your house are just, those are just super. What a beautiful collection. I just have to say that. I really enjoyed myself when I saw that.
That's great, guys. If you have questions, feel free to jump in now, enjoying the visual here. You talked about the future of the museum, Jane, and talked about a separate building. You mentioned to me about outdoor spaces. Is that something the museum's thinking about doing in the future?
So, yeah, we have pretty much acquired, are in the process of acquiring the whole block here on Central. And so we know we want a major facelift and more landscape, architectural landscape elements. We have Karen Lamont's cumulus cloud, the marble cumulus cloud, and the glass one coming in. We also have a Albert Paley, very large outdoor sculpture. We have other pieces that have been acquired, so it makes it seem, in order to get those displayed, that we should be creating some outdoor space so that these larger pieces of sculpture have a place to be seen. And again, that's part of the planning process now, bringing in the landscape designers, bringing in the designers to really help us look at the space and redesign it. So the thing is, you know, and the creatives that are on this call can appreciate this, but, you know, looking forward, we're a museum that opened in the 21st century. So as far as rules go, there's not too many of them, because so many of the rules or the guidelines that people have regarding museums are really 20th century ideas, you know, the brick and mortar, and you have to have the pieces inside. And we're in a position that we don't necessarily have to think about that. We think about our audience, we think about the collection, and then the house that contains the collection can take many directions. The goal is really to let other people see and experience this work that is done in this medium that, you know, transcends and reflects light. It's such an amazing material. We also, we give a little glass lesson also, because people don't even, you know, they see all the work and they see that it's glass, but then, you know, how to even relate to that. So we take them back to, you know, we say from stardust to the contemporary artwork that you see today, because sand and silica and the properties of it as material and what it does, it is quite an astounding element, and then one that we can take the physics and the science part and really captivate people's minds about this, what people would see as pretty simple. You know, it's windows and glasses, and it's on the screen of my phone, but to see what artists do with it is just pretty astounding. So.
Yeah, is that the average person that comes into the museum is obviously green to glass, completely new. So you're receiving a lot of the same questions over and over, like, how was this made? Is this from this planet? Stuff like that. Consistently.
Yes.
I figured as much. We received some of that together.
I do have a funny story you all will appreciate it. If they came in February, they saw that we had this Elon Musk and cyborg thing that Trish had put together. What was interesting, I went by a family with young children and they're reading the wall, and Musk had said, you know, you might be considered a cyborg if you have a cell phone in your hand. And so this little girl it must have been her babysitter or something. She says, my mom is a cyborg because she has her phone in her hand all the time.
That's great.
So, you know what, I have fun, you know, I have delight every day. So are we at the end, Aaron?
Yeah, tell us a little about this wall, and then I got a question for you about the VR stuff.
Okay, so in the fall, we will be having a show by Marlena Rose. We're finishing up, since we started with Batil in the beginning, that will end up with, you know, a woman, a female artist in our area, and who uses Sandcast for her work. So we'll finish up October through December with new works by Marlena Rose. And then moving into 2021, hopefully we can get there really quick and put some of this behind us. But then we will be featuring Peter Brummers as our artist of the century, or whatever Trish likes to call him. And it's a big title and they deserve it. And then we'll also have a call to artists, which we've put out already, that will be glass optical art. So we're really looking forward to that, to see what, it's up to the artist to determine what is optical art. And so I think it's going to be a really fun show. So that will then be from January through April. We'll have Peter's show run on the second floor, and that will go through, that will be a year. We'll have that show up for a year.
That's great.
And then we'll change up because we have, you know, we have the good fortune of abundance. So we're always changing individual pieces out in the galleries.
Gotcha. Did you have a quote to go along with this, the Buddha wall?
Yes, I do. So many people know as one of the glass galleries you see is Trish Duggan's, it's called Nirvana, the Buddha wall. And Trish has a quote. I think her story is better about how this came about, because in the 80s she was, you know, when people were working on freeing Tibet and getting the monks out, and it was a cause that Trish had engaged herself with, and she became very familiar with the Dalai Lama's driver. And as they were having discussions and talks, that somehow something was quoted to her that, you know, if you make 1,000 Buddhas, you'll find Nirvana. And so she made 1,000 Buddha heads, and she says, well, you know, it never hurts. So it's like checking all of her edges there. But then for her, the quote that she would love to be associated with it is, though you can conquer 1,000 men in battle 1,000 times, the one who conquers himself is the noblest victor of all. And that is a quote from Buddhists. So that's how people end their experience at Imagine. And I think they come out, and again, this is, you asked what is the most favorite piece. That is one of the pieces in the museum that people time and time again say is their favorite.
Jane?
Yes?
What kind of programs do you have for schools and children?
So we have, before COVID, that we would have make and take days, as most museums, you know, have for children and their families, that they'd come in, and we would have them do small craft things relating to glass and, you know, fusing and plastic and other things, making mobiles, things to take home. We also, last summer, we did have a summer program The same thing, it was more of a 3D using 3D pens and other things to create sculptures, since we're all about 3D and form and space. We have most of our programming for children really having to do with that. Now, what we're doing since COVID, and how many families that have been, sequestered and quarantined, that we have individual family tours that we've designed. And for the teenager, you can go into, we've turned it into Area 51 East, where the Bertille boats are with the AR and the rocket ship. And so they come in and they have this cool space experience. And for the younger kids, we've taken very tiny little glass animals and such, and we hide them in the glass pieces and through the museum. So it's a little scavenger hunt. And so it's up for the families to go through. It makes it all look a little closer to what they're seeing. And so they find the 12 different creatures, and then when they're done finding all the creatures, then when they walk out, they get to take their own creature home with them. We have a little story and a storyteller that makes it fun. So that's what we're trying to do now, is develop tours that are safe, social distancing happens, and people still can bring their children out. Or, we have teenagers come out and do the augmented reality also, so.
Great. I got a question about membership, about people who want to join the museum from everywhere in the world to support it. What can be done?
Well, all you have to do is go online to imaginemuseum.com, and we do have a membership sale going on right now. So it's 50% off on all of our various levels. So this would be the time, even if you're not in town and you can't take advantage of it, you certainly can help support us and buy a membership.
Yeah, and the Imagine Museum is quite innovative, so I suspect membership would have lots of perks and different things than the usual contemporary, usual feeling of art museums, being they're so innovative with VR and trying to think of new things. The catalogs are going to develop. They're cataloging the entire collection. It's going to be quite exciting. I think it's very fun.
Jane, is there a docent program?
We were just beginning one before COVID. We were taking in volunteers, and then the volunteers that wanted to learn more to be docents. But right now, we have museum experience associates trained on the collection, and so we always have someone that will take you around and talk to you about the collection. So, we have big plans. We're going to get an app, and then we're going to have voiceover. And I have to say, electronically, we're moving forward as quickly as we can. And as with everything else, it's really all about the content. If you have voiceover on things, and if you have to write scripts, and it's just a matter of putting it all together. But our list is long. Our hopes are positive, and so we really are looking to move past COVID and really begin to get this collection out there and put the Imagine Museum on the map.
That's great.
Thank you.
Also, thank
Gift shop?
Yes.
Do you have a gift shop?
Of course we do. Of course we do. We have beautiful jewelry, and we have households of beautiful glass items, and we're starting to bring just the smaller series of works from the individual artists, and seeing if we can find a good market for that too.
Great.
So yes, it's very hard. That's another thing. It's very hard not to go through the gift shop and want to keep, not wanting to get the pieces that we have out there.
I'd like to also ask you about the help that you have to make that place come together with all the changing of all the exhibitions. I know that Christian is the manager of displays, I believe his title or something like that.
Yeah.
Got to give him great credit. It's an amazing team you have to be able to do this daily. And I want to just give them a shout out because it's important for the people you depend on. Thank you, Jane.
Absolutely, and we did have to lay off people through all of this. So we are a team of 10 full-time people right now, and with a handful of part-time. So we still keep everything running, and you know, I'll look forward to when we'll have more admissions and we can bring more people back. But this is how we're going to navigate this time, and again, like I said, the decision to stay open is because we want to be, you know, we want to be here to be able to uplift people through this election.
Great.
I got a question.
Sure.
Hi, Jane. I guess, you know, we've discussed this before, but I think I'd like people to know you've amassed the largest Bertrand Relin collection, Karen Lamont collection, the Reno Seguso collection, Czech collection in the entire world. Is there any other plans outside of the museum for this collection? Any other ideas that you may have to exhibit work?
Well, of course. Yes, that is the idea now with the digitalization of the collection and creating the catalogs, is that we can take now these collections out to other museums. We do have our first show that in the UK. It was supposed to happen in 2021, which now will happen in 2022. So that will help us set up how to move these collections, how to get work into other museums. So we're calling that the collection management program. But we're still working on that and making sure how we can do that and have the infrastructure built out so that we can do it flawlessly.
Wanted to ask Paul a question. Paul, you're there. The museum has amassed an impressive collection of your work. Have you been down there to see it yet? Oh, I got to get you off mute. I'm gonna try to unmute you. There you go.
How do I?
You're good. We can hear you. I can hear you.
Well, I had old man issues. That prevented me from coming down, but now that I'm rebooted, I'm looking forward to it. But I have to tell you, Jen, I get a lot of wonderful comments on Facebook. People have been to the museum and they were introduced to my work, and very, very nice. So
yes. Well, they all say, how can I get one? And I either send them to Habitat or straight to you. Sorry, Habitat, but you know, hopefully you're getting some contact.
Send to Aaron. He's got quite a story going.
He does.
I get more emails about my work from people who've seen it at the Imagine Museum than from anywhere else. Always.
That's
just like Paul.
That's great. Great.
You know, it's really remarkable, and the idea that you're going to share the treasures with other museums around the world. That's very exciting.
It's such an exciting vision. So, you know, I'm on the ground here, so I have to make sure that, you know, all the, you know, everything is lined, all the columns and all the rows kind of match at the end of the day. So, as we all know, everybody can have 100 ideas, 1,000 ideas how to do something, but it is also you know, you have to bring it down and create the infrastructure so that it works and continues to work. So I guess that's my job, but I find it such an interesting, creative problem to solve.
Jane,
no. Oh, okay.
Tim made me think, is there, as people in the museum, is it clear to them if they want to contact an artist, how they can do that?
Yes, we get that a lot, and then we reach out to the artists mostly, and then ask them where they would like us to send the people to. I don't like to make assumptions about anything, so I never, artists are represented by different people, and they handle their work. So typically, if anyone is really serious, then I talk to them and ask them what they're looking for, and then I'll contact the artist.
Right, there's certain rules in place due to data breaches that we have to keep people's information confidential. So 99% of the time, I just check the artist's website. And if the artist has their information on the website, I'm free to give it out. If it's not on the website, then I'm not free to give it out. I have to go through the chain of command. It's a very easy thing that people are usually fine with it, but you don't assume an artist is going to be happy with giving out the information. I'm sure there's plenty of stories that Corey and Bert have back in the day with artists who have attitudes, but all the artists we work with now are great.
Jane, send mine to Aaron.
Permission granted.
Is it time?
That's great. All right, guys. Any more questions for Jane? Well, then I want to. Oh, Bruce, I saw you unmute yourself. You got a question?
No, just wanted to thank you and thank Jane so much.
Thank you. Wonderful.
It's a pleasure to see you. I'm looking what's behind you.
Can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jane.
Tim, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Well,
Thank you, everyone. I hope to meet on the other
Bye-bye.
side of this.
Thank you,
Hope to
Jane.
see you all the time.
Everybody planned
Bye-bye.
it. See you on the other side. For your time and being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks so much. Looking forward to seeing you.
Bye-bye. Good to see you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Aaron and Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, John. Good to see you.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks. Bye, sweetie.
Hi, Annie.
Take care,
Bye,
guys.
Janet.
Bye. See you soon.
I hope.
I hope so too.
Yes. Yes.